Hello, beautiful leader, and welcome to part 5 of this series of love notes directed right at you, the leader who is probably by now realizing that she's actually a leader. So, part 5, we're going to talk about nonconformity because I don't know about you, but I don't like to be put in a box. I don't like to be told who I'm supposed to be. And I most certainly don't like being given a set of rules because then I feel like I have to follow them. So no one makes those rules for me but me. And how nonconformity is actually the path to finding your alignment. So you may have understood by now that I'm all for individuality. I'm all for encouraging you to be you, and I'm all for encouraging you to even be different, to be weird, to be audacious, to be bold, to be courageous, to be all of you. But it's really hard to be all of you if you're very concerned with what everyone else is doing. You're very concerned with what the world is telling you you should be as a woman. Or maybe you're very concerned with not getting judged or not getting canceled or not getting called out or not getting into conflict. I know that's a big one for me sometimes. What often used to stop me from expressing my fully weirdo, wonky, wow self was a fear of conflict. I used to fumble over my words so much so that I would write notes and read them out loud if I had to confront someone with a need or my feelings, because I used to not have the words to actually express myself. I used to well up in my throat, everything would shut down, and I would just cry. And then I perceived that as a weakness, and I didn't know how to speak from an embodied place. So I was very scared of conflict because I often got, I shouldn't say often, but there was often there was keep saying often. There was a reflection back to me where if I say the wrong thing, then I'm going to be vilified for it. And there's a few key points in my childhood and even into my 20s where that got proven right. And it wasn't until I let go of my need to please, and my need to fit, and my need to be loved, and my need to be accepted, and my fear of rejection, to let go of that. Wow, it was liberating. Like, genuinely, it was so liberating because now the way I think about relationships, whether it's with a client and or with a partner or a friend, even a family member, I trust and know that aligned people will find me. And if someone shifts out of alignment, they're likely not for me. And I'm not attached to holding on to a story of that person or that connection or that relationship. And it's not that I don't care, or it's not that I don't grieve, or it's not that I don't feel loss. I do. I feel all of it. But feeling all of it allows me to worry less about conflict, about rejection, or about abandonment. Because once I learned to feel my feelings, I recognized that I was able to speak from my heart. Because when I was welling up in my throat, it was actually because I was trying to speak from my head. And authenticity, though it's kind of a buzzword these days, is really the path to your alignment, particularly in your business, particularly in the world that is really encouraging us to go AI forward, a world that's really encouraging us to pick sides or to follow an agenda or to get stuck into one regime. You're either one or the other. Right, there's so much divisiveness out there mixed with, like, categories of what box do you fit in, and all of this, I just wanna throw it out with the trash. Do not comply, do not conform. Be you. Because when you're yourself, fully, unabashedly, unapologetically, then you also bring in people who are like you. Think back to times in your earlier life where there were ever moments of, you're like, why did I bring this person into my life? We did not have the same values. Or like, how could I date that person? They didn't even match any of the ways that I see the world. Or like, how could I, you know, bring up that same situation over and over again when I don't even feel that way? Well, you know you don't feel that way, but does the world around you and the universe and source know you don't feel that way? Because if you're trying to fit in a box, especially a self-imposed box, by the way, you're going to get pushed that lesson over and over and over and over and over and over again. The same lesson that's inviting you to unhook from the pattern. Whatever pattern's there that's stopping you from liberating and freeing and unburdening and unshackling yourself from your voice, your truth, your authenticity, and your true women-led leadership. So, you can only go your own way. And a leader likes to kind of rebel and go their own way secretly. All the times where I tried to fit, where I thought I was doing the right thing, following the rules, playing good and nice, in my head, I was thinking other things. I was like challenging these things. And I had a secret rebel inside that was silently waiting for her to come out, her voice to come out. And in the last few years in particularly, I've really noticed a shift in the way that people express themselves. And I see one of two things. I see a lot of fear of getting canceled or judged, mixed with a popularity of following a trend and doing what everyone else is doing, mixed with that beautiful through line of the people who are innovating. They're visionaries. They're expressing themselves wholeheartedly. They're quirky and weird and maybe paradigm shifters, cycle breakers, black sheep, the quiet rebel, the one who's doing it differently than most, the one who's like asking why all the time. Like maybe you were that kid in class that always asked why. I know personally that my neurospicy brain also does not like to be told what to do. I like to figure it out for myself. Maybe you do too. Most people with a wonderful brain tend to be critical thinkers who don't want to conform. They want to question and challenge and stay curious, not from a place of combating, not from a place of unnecessary disruption, but from a place of like pattern interruption, of like, why didn't no one ask this question? Where did we learn this from? Who said this was the standard? Who determined this was the norm? Part of my personal purpose journey has been following that of like, who determined that this was true and right and the only way? As I've alluded to in previous episodes, I have been a therapist and I felt like it conformed me too much. I didn't fit the mold. And I felt it was very restrictive to how I saw that my clients needed me to show up for them in order to get the growth that they deserve. So I had to create my own way of operating using the tools that I know in the trauma therapy world, and the tools that I know in the coaching world, and the tools that I know in the human design world, and the tools that I know in the spiritual feminine energetics world. I had to create my own path, my own way. A leader is every step of the way. Like, I got this visual of, when there's a new snowfall and there's no footprints? Like, the leader is the one that's putting the first footprint through the snow. And then, the kids kind of step into the steps afterwards of the people following you on your journey are following in your literal footsteps so that they don't have snow, like, going into their boots. If you're from a warm climate, this may not resonate, but maybe you've seen it in a movie. But a leader has to figure out what's the path. That's you. You're finding the path. And true, authentic, embodied leaders are sometimes scared. They still do it anyway because they're doing it their way. So we can glean information from tons of different sources. But one of my also big mottos in life is to all the people who listen to my work is take what resonates and leave the rest. The reason I like that phrase is because it's not really about you copying word for word every single thing I say. It's also not expected that you would agree with everything that I say. So you take what you resonate with and then let go of the stuff that you don't. And if you're anything like me, what I would often do is I would learn, because I'm a curious brain. I love psychology and I love astrology and I love human design and I love learning feminine work. So I would read the books and learn, and then over time I would alchemize it and mix it up and stir the cauldron, so to speak, and make my own recipe. And that's how I became the brand and the woman that I am today. And I want you to find your recipe. And maybe you're not a cauldron, right? Maybe you're a muffin tin. Maybe you're a beautiful, handmade, wonky shaped bowl of pottery. But if you don't give yourself a permission slip to be all of you, good luck figuring it out. Because it's going to feel like you're trying on a bunch of different things and they're just not fitting. Do you and do you fully. And if you don't know how, or you don't feel ready, or you're scared to even admit what that is like, or maybe you're like, I don't even know me. By now, if you're listening to this series, check the show notes, my friends. And if you want a safe space to bring out all the weird, the woo, the whimsical, the way you do things different and think different, She for We is a completely safe and open container for you to take that mask off and be yourself. We see you. So come join us if you feel called. But ultimately, what would you do? In every situation, this is my invitation for you in this next few days. What would I do in that situation? When you're scrolling in social media and you're listening to other people's opinions, ask yourself, what would I do if I was in that situation? And start to find your voice, your standards, your beliefs, your values. Play with that. Write it down, keep track of it. Start to get to know you. Find your inner you again. Much love to you, and thank you as always for listening.